What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Dank Times Danker Thoughts. This is actually episode 90. We're so close to 100. I feel like I should do something special for the 100th episode. So maybe that's something that I'm going to have to start planning on. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, I don't want to give away anything. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, so I shouldn't speculate. But I had so much I wanted to talk about last podcast that I felt like I was rushed for time. And to be honest, the last one got a little murky and messy and a little disorganized, to say the least. So this one, I just kind of want to clean up some things and talk about some topics that I didn't quite get to. The first one being, do you remember 2 or 3 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, Jesus, where has the time gone? Pokemon Go got released, and it kind of took over the world. Deservedly so. That game was Dank. I still love that game, to be honest. I had to stop playing it a couple months ago because I started to obsess over it a little bit, and I was dating a girl at the time, and that was kind of a fun thing we used to do together, but then we broke up, and I tended to just play it by myself, and it just stopped being fun. And so when you're obsessing over something that you're not really enjoying just because you're used to doing it, it's probably a good omen for you to just stop doing it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. But do you remember that was probably the last time in this country that we were all agreeing on one thing, which is Pokemon Go is fun. You had the 3 teams going at it. I think was I on the yellow or the red? Shit, I may have been on the blue. Guys, it's been probably 8 months since I played it last, so my memory is a little hazy. But the reason I bring up Pokemon Go is you may have seen a news story. 2 LA police officers were fired after an investigation found they had pretended not to hear a radio call for help as they played the augmented reality game. Now, the officers appealed their firing, and it went ignored. So they are still fired from the LAPD. And so you may be saying to yourself, wait a minute, 2 LAPD cops ignored a robbery in progress so that they can play Pokemon Go? I think it happened 2017. Yep, right when that shit was at its fervor. Jeez, it took them 5 years to figure it all out. Huh. The 2 Los Angeles police officers were in hot pursuit. They had 4 minutes to catch their target or it would get away. The target was sighted at 46th Street and Leimert Boulevard, and they had to hustle. You can just hear the music. Dun, 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 go, 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 go. Using his knowledge of the neighborhood, Officer Eric Mitchell noted that Leimert Boulevard doesn't go all the way to 46th. Officer Luis Lozano suggested they go down 11th and swing up Crenshaw. The clock was ticking, but just in the nick of time, they got him, according to the court documents. Who did they capture? Well, the Pokemon Snorlax, of course. Then they were off to find the Togetic? No, that's the one Pokemon, not the one, but there is a entire, multitude of generations of Pokemon that I do not know. I, of course, know the original 150, and then I think there was another batch that got the number up to like 300 something. I kind of know that one. But anything after that, I have no idea what's going on. So it's either pronounced Togetic or Togetic. I think that is the Togepi. Jesus, I sound like I'm speaking a foreign language. Anyway, back to the story. While the 2 officers were playing Pokemon Go in their police cruiser on April 2017, they pretended not to hear a radio call to respond to a robbery at a nearby mall. An internal investigation found, basically largely on video recording from inside the car. The police chief fired the officers after recommendation by a disciplinary board. And on Friday, the California 2nd District Court of Appeals again rejected the officer's appeal, affirming a lower court's decision. So, not a good look for the LAPD. And especially at a time where murders and just crime overall is spiking all over the country, specifically metropolitan cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, New York, Chicago, a few others, and I think Dallas and Austin. I mean, I could go down the list. And there's a lot of reasons why. You could factor in the pandemic, you can factor in the vaccine mandate, you can factor in police officers not feeling the warm welcome these days. So yeah, there's a lot of shit going down right now, which could explain the spike in crime. But now I know this happened in 2017, but Jesus Christ, The fact that they were playing Pokemon Go on the job, ignoring phone calls, active robberies. Jesus Christ, you know. I enjoyed Pokemon Go. In fact, I'm not even going to lie. There were some times I would get in my car and go about 5 miles per hour around my neighborhood and nearby neighborhoods and by parks and stuff so that I could pick up on Pokemon stops and do my gym battles and whatnot. But I would never do it while I'm on the job. Oh my goodness. So yeah, not a good look, LAPD. And it is a good look for Pokemon Go, to be honest. It shows you that game is so good, it's worth getting fired for. In fact, it's worth putting your life on the line. The officers pleaded guilty to failing to respond to a robbery call and failing to respond over the radio when their unit was called. They argued that the department could not use a recording from inside their police cruiser of their private conversation because they were unaware they were being recorded. Oh, if only the public got treated the same way as the police on that one. A disciplinary board found that an unintentionally recorded personal conversation could be used for disciplinary matters if there was evidence of criminal or egregious misconduct. Absolutely there was. The trial court found that the officer's behavior would certainly be classified as egregious. Well, there you go. The day of the Pokemon hunt was a busy one in the LAPD Southwest Division, with more calls than there were police cars available to respond. Well, that's another problem, LAPD. There had been a homicide earlier in that day. Assigned to a foot beat patrol, the officers were on duty when a call went out about a robbery in progress at the Macy's store. And then a couple other officers tried reaching out to them. They kept ignoring them. No response. Later, the sergeant asked the officers if they had heard a call for backup, and Officer Mitchell said they had not because it was really loud in the park they were in, according to court documents. But a review of the video system inside the car told a different story. It revealed that theirs was the car closest to the mall when the robbery call came in, and that they heard the radio call and decided not to respond. I don't want to be his help, Officer Lozano said of Captain Davenport as they left the area, according to court documents. They debated whether to respond after several more minutes of chatter about the robbery and decided not to when their unit was called. Ah, screw it, Officer Lozano said. Less than 5 minutes later, Officer Mitchell spotted the Snorlax, and for the next 20 minutes, they discussed Pokemon as they drove to different locations, chasing it. Don't run away! Don't run away! Officer Lozano said at one point. This thing is fighting the crap out of me, Officer Mitchell said, apparently referring to the Togetic, a fierce species rarely seen in the wild. These guys are going to be so jealous. He later said, I got you Pokemon today, dude. So the whole LAPD and that Southwest Division were playing Pokemon Go on the job, ignoring calls, and especially on a very busy day. So again, this is comical to me, and a few people may try to make a bigger story out of it than it is, and than just two dumb fuck officers, you know, the bad apples of the bunch. But I'd rather have bad apple cops doing this shit than, you know, kneeling on people's necks or shooting unarmed black kids. You know what I'm saying? But in order to kind of fix these kinds of things, you just got to start hiring better people, and to hire better people, you have to make it worthwhile to be a cop, you know? I feel like if you just tweak some, well, minor and major things in policing, you can really hire the best of the best, and you really should cut down dramatically the amount of police corruption and racism and sexism, and I hate to say it, there's a lot of far-right activity in policing these days. Not a whole bunch. I don't want to say every cop is a white supremacist. No. In fact, I think it's very, very small amount, but still, it is on the rise. And just off the top of my head, a few areas to address is, when you're hiring police officers, make sure that once they're hired, they're working in their community where they grew up or where they're from. Don't put them in a strange new environment. Number two, I would make police pay starting $100,000, beef up the benefits, the retirement, whatever. But you also have to make it harder to become a police officer. There has to be intense background checks. There needs to be a psych evaluation. You want to hire police officers that also at least took a year or two of sociology or something to do with local communities, maybe something in an urban area, something that's not just brute force, consequences first. You want to have smart officers that are able to think logically and rationally in crunch time, and that they don't, you know, accidentally take out their gun and they think it's a taser and pop a few people, you know. You need officers that are able to stay calm, cool, and collected mentally and emotionally. And, you know, this may sound a little sizist, I think that's a term, but you can't have any obese or fat police officers. You just can't. They need to be in shape. They need to be able to run down people. The amount of little piggies I see walking around that are 400 pounds and sweating through their blues, I mean, you can't do that, man. You just can't. And when you pay them more, you're going to cut down on the police officers that are doing side jobs, maybe sometimes even illegal. You know, just, it is a tough job. It is. It's probably one of the hardest, toughest jobs easily in the country, but in the world. But anyway, those are just some ideas off the top of my head of how you can address policing so you don't get shit like this happening. But anyways, let's move on here. When I was having dinner the other week with my good friend from California, an avid listener that we shall call Queen Limoncello, we were discussing why not every woman in this country has an OnlyFans account. I've talked about it before, but it's staggering to me that the amount of women that aren't using what, genetics and the mom and dad gave them. You know what I'm saying? And I think OnlyFans has kind of a bad reputation as only being used for sexual, pornographic stuff, which is not fair, because I'm sure that there's multiple avenues that any woman can take on OnlyFans. And if I'm being honest, I've thought about doing an OnlyFans myself, There's nothing stopping me from getting naked and, exercising in front of a camera or playing video games in front of a camera or cooking or recording this podcast, I could do all of those things naked. Or I don't know why I have to be naked, but I feel like I would get more views that way. Plus, I think it would help my mental ability to stay in shape. Because I would see myself, I'd be like, ugh, I thought I was looking good, but I can still see some jelly rolls there, so let me keep doing some crunches, you know what I'm saying? But if Angelo Grosso was born Angela Grosso, I think she absolutely would have been on OnlyFans for the last few years, if not from the launch. And yeah, I don't know why every woman at least doesn't have a foot OnlyFans. You're not showing your face. I guess if you have any distinguishing characteristics on your foot, that would eliminate you in case you were nervous about it or afraid of it coming out later in life. But if you don't have any birthmarks or tattoos or anything on your feet, why doesn't every woman have a foot OnlyFans? I don't understand. You don't have to do anything perverted with it. You can literally just take foot pictures, put them on OnlyFans, and I think the majority of you would be pleasantly surprised at how much moolah you can rake in. Which, by the way, I had to look this up because I was intrigued by how many active users are on OnlyFans. So as of January 1st, 2021, there is 85 million registered users, up from 8 million registered users from July 2019. There are close to 500,000 site registrations per day. Woo! So maybe I'm just behind the eight ball. Maybe every woman does have an OnlyFans. And they all ask me to be their friend on Instagram. Oh, I can tell you. But yeah, she was telling me that some of her girlfriends are telling her that she should do it. And I told her, absolutely. I said, again, you don't need to show your face if that's what you're concerned about. You don't even have to show your tatas. If you just show your legs and your feet, and it's up to you if you want to show your booty. You don't have to spread your cheeks and give it the whole, one-eyed wink, you know what I'm saying? You can keep it classy. Just do legs, or no legs, just feet. Just feet. I didn't think I ever had a foot fetish or anything, but I tell you, I would say maybe the last year, I've started to pick up on feet when I look at a very beautiful woman. And I don't know why it is. There's just something very attracted about a feminine foot. Maybe that's what I'm attracted to, just the femininity of it. Because not all feet attract me, by the way. I've seen some just giant Bigfoot looking motherfuckers. So not all feet turn me on. But if it's the feminine beauty aspect of the foot sits right with me, I could see myself getting turned on by it. Now, I'm not going to do anything weird with it, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a little kiss, maybe a little suck every now and then. But I feel like a foot fetish, maybe should I just embrace this? I don't know. I don't know if I want to embrace it, but I'm not ashamed of it though. It's just something that I've been noticing. I know Kiwi has some really nice feet, but I don't know. It's just something that I picked up on over the last year, and I'm trying to understand why, but I think I kind of had a breakthrough here. It's the feminine beauty of the feet that I like. But it has to be a certain quality. If it has to be maintained, it has to, it has to be elegant. Huh. I think we had a positive breakthrough, people. But anyway, back to OnlyFans. So if you're a woman or a guy, I shouldn't judge here. There's nothing stopping every guy doing it either. I just feel like you're not going to make as much money, if any money at all. Although I have been told by the gay community that I am quite a catch. So maybe I would get some decent followers and some decent cheddar if I do some, minor solicitation. Not solicitation. Maybe just some cute pictures. I don't know if I could show my face, though, because I do plan on running for president here soon. Although, how funny would it be? I mean, we're going to reach this point eventually, especially when millennials and Gen Zs are running for president, is there's going to be nudes of these candidates. There's going to be foot videos. There's going to be OnlyFans. There's going to be some shady DMs. It's just going to be the norm. It's going to be like blackface now. Every now and then you see a politician. It's like, well, I was in college. It was an Aladdin party. Oh, God. So, yeah, I implore my female listeners, if you're hard up for cash, or you're working a dead-end job, or you're just bored in life, you want to try something new, at the very least, go to OnlyFans.com and look at your options. Now, I should also point out, I don't have an OnlyFans account. I don't subscribe to OnlyFans account, I'll be honest. The only time I've ever gone on OnlyFans website, it was accidentally when I was talking to a girl on a dating app a long time ago, and she sent me a link. I said, this is strange, but of course my dumbass clicked the link, was sent to OnlyFans, and I said, I don't want to do OnlyFans, because to me, why would I pay for it? You know what I'm saying? Pornhub's right there, and my imagination beats everything. So, that's what I would tell my female listeners. Just take a look. You have nothing to lose just by looking. And I'm telling you, if you think that you're not as attractive as you should be, or that you have self-esteem issues, or you think, well, Angelo, I don't think I have cute feet at all, take a chance, get a pedicure, take a few pics, upload them, see what happens. I bet you're going to get a lot of Indian and Nigerian men to begin with. And that is based on real-world evidence that I have gotten from female friends. They tend to get Nigerian and Indian men for whatever reason. So anyway, check it out. Check OnlyFans out. That's all I'm saying. Speaking of that fun dinner I had with Queen Limoncello, I had 3 cocktails that dinner, 2 mediocre ones and 1 garbage trash water one. The first 2 were my favorite drinks, the Manhattan. They had their own special bourbon Manhattan. I don't know. It sounded fancy, but it tasted like a C+ drink. It was $14 fucking too. I expect better than that. But, I had 2 of them because I have no self-control, and I just get into the mindset of I'm with someone, this is a social event, this is the only time I drink these days. So, yeah, let me go ahead and have a few cocktails. Third one I had was the limoncello, which was atrocious. I've had bad limoncellos before, but that one may take the cake. I mean, that was brutal. It tasted like I was drinking syrup. I'm surprised they didn't have me sign a diabetes waiver before I put it up to my lips. And those 3 drinks fucked me up. I'm not talking about getting tipsy or drunk, because I wasn't either of those things. But it's almost like I had so much sugar in me that my body does not know how to handle it anymore at age 35. And I just started to sweat. I started to get red. I started to get bloaty. I started to just feel really uncomfortable. I got almost like a hangover style headache. I was chugging water and it just didn't help, and I had shit dreams. I actually had a pretty brutal nightmare that evening, and I just slept like poop. I just have to accept the fact that your boy can't drink like he used to anymore. I remember not that long ago, I used to be able to have 3 or 4 Manhattans and be fine. Now I have 2 and I'm under the table. And it's not because of the alcohol, it's the fucking sugar. So what I think I'm going to have to do moving forward is just stick to the fancy white woman drinks. The vodkas, the gins, the occasional tequila and rum, and my beloved scotch and bourbon and brandy. Oh, I'm just going to have to drink them straight up. I can't be having them in cocktails anymore. Or if I do have a cocktail, I have to make sure it's not sweet because fuck me. I can't do it anymore. It takes me forever to recover from them. And this is a hard pill to swallow because I used to be able to put it away. From high school through college, really up until I was 30. I could drink, beer after beer after beer, shot after shot after shot, cocktail after cocktail after cocktail. It didn't matter. And I could mix drinks. I could have beer and liquor. I could mix vodka with rum and then have a tequila shot. Now, tequila has always fucked me up. Always. I've rarely had a good time having more than 2 shots of tequila. But every other type of booze, you name it, doesn't affect me at all. I think the only alcohol that doesn't fuck me over anymore is red wine. Even white wine gets me the sugary headaches these days, which is sad because I like a good white wine on a nice sunny breezy day. But beer, I haven't had more than 2 beers in a day. Shit. Late 20s maybe. I just don't drink beer that much anymore. I've had beer in my refrigerator since moving in. In fact, I may have brought it in from the condo. I don't know. So beer's out. White wine is mostly out. And when you get to cocktails, I don't know what I can drink anymore. I mean, this is coming from a guy at 14 years old could drink half a bottle of Malibu rum. that coconut sugary shit. I could drink half a bottle of Kahlua. I could drink that mudslide nonsense. I could drink, what's that sweet vodka? Is the Absolute vodka. I mean, there were so many others. Goldschlager. Ugh, no, just thinking of this stuff. Fireball. Oh my God. I feel like I'm going to throw up just thinking of Fireball. What's the licorice one with the deer on it? Everyone likes that. Not Goldschlager. God damn it. I can't think of that one. You know what I'm talking about. It's in the green bottle. Deer. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. I never was a fan of that one either, but I could put it away back in the day. But no, not anymore. So I'm just going to have to man up and affect my pussyhood. And when I go out sociably, I need to either have one somewhat sugary cocktail and call it a day. Or if I know I'm going to drink more than one cocktail, just be careful. Maybe get a gin and tonic, vodka cranberry, because I'm going to get my period later. You know what I'm saying? Or I have to just think first and then act. I can't be like the sheriff back in the Wild Wild West. Kick open the door, shoot first, ask questions later. No. With marijuana, I can do that. I could smoke marijuana all day and be A-okay. I even like mixing marijuana with booze, but not as much as I used to. Now that I think about it, the best combination for me still is marijuana and red wine. Now, non-alcoholic, coffee and marijuana is even better. But marijuana goes well with red wine, coffee, and occasionally, I will say, it is good with some Irish whiskey or some scotch. Or I would even throw the Canadian whiskey in there too. Maybe even some Tennessee, Kentucky bourbon. But it has to be straight up. Oh man, Southern Comfort used to be my jam. I just can't drink it anymore. Jack Daniel's, same thing. I was gifted brown sugar bourbon, a really popular brand. I took one sip and I almost died of diabetes because it's just, I can't do sugar anymore. I just can't. Oh, it sucks too. I can't even eat cheese anymore without sweating. I don't know what the deal is, man. My body's breaking down. Maybe I should become a vegan like Kiwi. I don't know, man. It's shit. Well, I feel like I could do what vegans do, but I would still have to have animal byproducts as long as they don't hurt or torture the animal, like milk and eggs. I know vegans don't eat milk and eggs, or if they do, they don't eat a lot of them, which always confuses me because milking a cow doesn't hurt the cow. Eating chicken's eggs doesn't hurt the chicken's eggs because it's not a fertilized egg. You should be able to do that. I don't get why you can't. Cheese is another one. It's a byproduct. What's the problem here? As long as I'm not, punching a cow, and every time I punch a cow's udder, milk shoots out, and that's what I drink. That's hurting the cow to get the milk, but that's not what we're doing. So I could be a vegan and cut out all meat. Oh, that would be tough. I tell you what, I could be a vegan, but I'd have to eat seafood, chicken, and then cheese, and eggs and dairy. I'm so not really vegan at all. Because let's face facts, people. If you're going to eat an animal, the least bad for the earth and for the environment is chickens. The worst is pigs and cows. Duh. But turkeys, ducks, chickens, the birds, that is the least harmful to the environment. It is still harmful, but not as bad. And it's not even really even in the same ballpark. But personally, turkey I could give a fuck about. Duck, I haven't really had it enough to have an opinion. But my God, do I love chicken. So I'm sorry, chicken. Maybe this is our revenge on you, since you're the closest ancestor to dinosaurs. And dinosaurs used to eat our ancestors all the time. Now it has switched, baby. The hunter has become the hunted, and I can go to McDonald's and buy a 20-piece McNugget meal and put that fucker away, baby. So joke's on you, chicken. And you know what? Roosters are kind of cocks anyway. Have you ever gone into a chicken coop and a rooster acted nice? Fuck no. Those roosters are assholes. One of my good friends growing up around in high school and college, we used to go to her and her cousin's house, who I'm also very good friends with, and they would have a rooster and a bunch of chickens there, and the rooster would just run around the property and attack us all the time. They don't give a fuck, and they have those little velociraptor dinosaur claws, and they just swipe your shins. I mean, fuck you, rooster. Come here, I'm going to bite your head off like the geek in the freak show. What's my point here? So I could be a vegan, but I'd have to eat seafood and chicken and dairy and egg and all that stuff. So I would be a pretty shitty vegan, but it's better than what I do now for the environment. What else? I can't drink like I used to, and I can't even eat cheese like I used to. Ugh. I mean, they should just put me on the AARP diet. You know what I'm saying? Just mash all my food up in a blender and I can suck it out of a straw. Oh, Christ. But anyway, let's move on here. This headline you would think would be from an Onion article, but no, this is a real headline. M&M's to redo character designs to be more inclusive. Now, before my head explodes like it's I'm in the movie Scanners, I have no problem with making television shows, movie series, things of that nature more inclusive because, there's humans in the media of that. But when you're trying to be more inclusive with inanimate objects or fake things like M&Ms or animals, I gotta ask the question, why? Why waste your time? Who is not buying M&Ms because they're not inclusive enough? What the fuck are you talking about? It's the same thing with Sesame Street. They're gonna make an Asian puppet. I had no idea the puppets had races to begin with. So I feel like when people of a certain age and a certain ideology read these headlines and think, well, shit, there's the PC elitist culture gone too far, and then it becomes a major talking point on Fox News and the OANs of the world and the QAnon bloggers, and it's so stupid. These corporations just try to outcuck themselves, and they just try to shove this shit down our throats. I mean, again, who was asking for this? Now, I'm looking at the before and after of these M&M characters. I'm not seeing a major difference. But if they were being honest with themselves, the M&M company, all they had to do is say, you know what? We went on Pornhub and we were disgusted at the amount of green M&M porn that's out there. It's our fault. We decided to make the green M&M the slutty, hoary M&M. And, of course, men of all ages and all races and ethnicities cannot stand not to want to fuck something that has been overly sexualized, even an inanimate object like a green M&M. And then, of course, you get all these old wives' tales about, well, actually, there's something in the chemicals on the green M&M that makes it green that actually does make you more horny. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? So let's back up here. The red M&M is always the boss. Okay, he is the Moe to the Larry and Curly of the Stooges of the M&Ms. Now the yellow one is the Homer Simpson, the Peter Griffin of the bunch. It's the Franks and Beans one. I get that. And the orange one is always the chicken shit one, which I don't understand why they don't make the yellow one the chicken shit, because, if you're yellow, you're scared of everything, oh, his belly's yellow, So I don't know why orange is The sky is falling. Oh my God, panic, panic, panic. Now, I don't know what the blue one is. To me, the blue one looks like a very high society, sophisticated M&M. And the brown one is the female equivalent of the blue one. So far, so good. The red one is fine, the yellow one is fine, the orange one is fine, although I would switch those two, and the blue and brown look fine. Now, we all know the problem lies with the green one. I mean, do I want to fuck the green M&M? No. But if I had to have relations with one of the 6 M&Ms, I of course would choose the green one. So instead of making this big deal about we need to make this more inclusive, and that's such a stupid, nonsensical buzzword at this point, inclusive, just say the M&M apologizes for sexualizing the green M&M, and we're going to make it a different character. It's not like the green M&M had titties and a camel toe beforehand, you know what I'm saying? I don't get it, man. If you want to be more inclusive with the M&Ms, I guess make a new type of food. Whoever owns the M&M, I don't know who owns M&Ms. Is it their own company? Are they owned by a big thing like Nestle? I don't fucking know. And why isn't there a purple M&M? I feel like if you want to be more inclusive, make a light purple M&M and have that be the LGBTQ M&M. You know, maybe he talks with the lisp. Maybe he does the little hand thing, the little broken wrist thing, like, hi, it's purple M&M, yas, you know, stuff like that. And that would be more inclusive, and you create something new. And then the green one can be the purple one's friend, because, let's face facts, in Western society, hoary women always have hoary LGBTQ friends. And I mean, that could be a spinoff right there. Green and purple whoring it up in different ways, but it's more inclusive because they're both getting what they want shoved in where they want it to be. You know what I'm saying? You can make the red and yellow one gay together. I mean, there's so many things you could do, but you have to redo the whole thing, redesign everything. Pain in my ass. Same thing with Sesame Street. I don't think people were clamoring for a more inclusive Sesame Street in terms of race and gender. Now, I know a couple of years ago they made a puppet that was autistic, and some people freaked out about that, and those people are dimwits. Now, I'm all for that. That, to me, is inclusive. That is the important merits of inclusivity, because there is a heightened percentage of autistic or people on the spectrum with younger generations, specifically my generation and Gen Z. So I get that. You want to showcase that there is a large percentage of the country that is autistic. So that makes sense to me. But then to say, you know what, we're going to release an Asian puppet. Oh, so you're telling me there was white puppets and black puppets and Hispanic puppets and Indian puppets and Italian puppets before? What the fuck are you talking about? I mean, the only puppet that had any kind of race was Snuffleupagus, and he was just a pothead stoner, but that's not a race. So I think it's going a little overboard, and it's not going to make me do anything stupid or irrational, like I'm not going to watch Sesame Street, I'm never going to eat M&Ms again. No, I love M&Ms. The best M&Ms are the dark chocolate peanut butter ones. And if you disagree, not only are you wrong, but I challenge you to a duel, bitch face, and I will win. So M&Ms, I think they're out of control, but they are pretty damn good. Oh, Jesus. You know, I went to, switching gears here, I went to IKEA last weekend. I dropped the old man off at his eye doctor appointment for about an hour and a half, and I said, let me go to IKEA. I don't need anything, and IKEA is the shittiest furniture that you can probably buy, but it also is relatively cheap, so I get it. It is for college students. It is for people that are on a budget, so I can't shit on the quality because they are offering it to people that need furniture that may not have the exorbitant amount of money to go to, like, I don't know, Crate and Barrel. Is that still high? Is that high-end furniture? I don't know. So I think it serves a good purpose for the community. But, oh my God, I was there on a Thursday afternoon. I have never seen more ugly fat people in my life. Now, I live in Auburn, Washington, so I see my fair share of freak show troll people out here. But for some reason, I expected to get a little bit higher quality content of people at this IKEA, and that's not what happened. Now, before you say, Angelo, you are really judgmental here. Well, no. There was a lot of mirrors there. But IKEA really did me a solid when I was a teenager and I had to buy furniture for my bedroom, and my parents did not have a lot of money. And IKEA at the time was the cool, popular thing. Much like American Eagle was popular, Abercrombie and Fitch, Hollister, those places were popular for a little bit. In fact, I don't know how Abercrombie and Fitch is still popular with all the sexism. I mean, there's sexiness and sexism at Abercrombie and Fitch. But anyway, back to IKEA. And especially when I moved out, when I was 18, and I moved in with a couple jabronis out here in Covington, everything we owned was either IKEA, thrift store, or secondhand. So I can't shit on IKEA. However, my God, ugly, ugly people. But that says more about Tukwila and the customers themselves. That doesn't reflect that poorly on IKEA. And I gotta say, I was only there to kind of waste time. They had some pretty cool shit there. I ended up buying this really cool this really cool pink vase and these dark kind of neon blue fake flower things, and it really goes well together. And I bought this woven rug runner that is basically for LaFonda. And I gotta say, LaFonda has got to be the most spoiled cat in history. Even, you know what, in all of history. I was going to say maybe not in Egypt when they were worshipped as gods, but I think I treat her better than the Egyptians treated cats that they thought were gods. This cat sleeps and goes in all over the rooms in this house more than I do. She has 5 scratching posts. She has one giant tree. And she has I think they're called the ottoman. You know, those things you rest your feet on when you're sitting on a couch, and you can sometimes have storage in them. She has that to scratch on. I have put in rugs everywhere around the house where she goes, because she is so picky. She cannot sit on something that doesn't have a blanket or a rug or something on top of the carpet. Even on me, she wants to sit on my lap all the time whenever I'm sitting down. But she will just stand next to me and look at me until I put a blanket or a pillow or something on me that has multiple layers. And then she sits on me and starts making biscuits for 20 minutes. So she's a fucking queen. And she thinks she deserves to be treated that way. And she probably does. I mean, I just went to the pet store and spent $80 on that cat. I mean, my God. She is so spoiled. I think if I could create a time machine, I would take her back to the Egyptian days. And they would appoint her head deity, and they would put the likeness of her on all of the pyramids. They would redesign the Sphinx to show LaFonda's face. What was my point about IKEA? Well, I lost my train of thought. Basically, I went to IKEA and I got something for the cat, is what I'm saying. God damn, that cat's spoiled. Oh, let's see. What else is on my docket here? Oh, after I did the trip to IKEA, I decided to come back home and do a clothing audit. I haven't done one in some time. I think the last one I did was about a year and a half, really right when quarantine started, because I have been losing weight consistently for about 3 years. The last 6 months, though, I kind of feel like I hit the Berlin Wall here. I go up a little bit and I go down a little bit. Right now, the last time I weighed myself in January 1st, I was 214, which is about 15 pounds heavier than what I want to be. My dream weight is under 200. My miraculous weight, which I think I will never reach, because God has decided for me to have these Victorian era hips that my body and genetics must think that it's still Struggleville and that I'm due to be sent off to war at any time. So I need to store as much fat as I can in my ass and belly, so that when I go on these mile-long, month-long stretches, I need to have enough blubber in me. It's like a bear going to hibernate. That's what my body thinks I am. Not to mention, my body is shaped like an hourglass. I really think I should have been born a black woman, because that's the kind of body I have. So, a year and a half ago, I did one of these clothing audits, and I got rid of a lot of clothes. But most of the clothes I had for a couple of years, or, way too long is my point. So I got to go out and buy a bunch of new shit. However, pandemic hit. I haven't been going to as many functions as I normally would that require some of the clothes that I bought. I bought new dress shirts, dress pants, suit jackets, you name it. Because at the time I was going out quite often, at least a handful of times a month to like clubs or bars or something out in Seattle, or stand-up shows, concerts, art galleries. I went to not a ballerina thing, but like interpretive dance. Things you want to dress up for. I bought all of those clothes, but pandemic hit. I haven't been doing any of those things. No weddings, no funerals, no circumcisions. So I have lost more weight during the pandemic. And trying on these clothes that I bought about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I haven't worn since, they're all too big now. All of them. On the bright side, I'm losing weight still. On the negative side, holy shit, did I just waste a bunch of money on clothes that I never wore, and I'm not going to gain weight so that I can fit back in them. You know what I'm saying? Now I have to go out and rebuy clothes that I just bought less than 2 years ago. Fuck. It's a burden being this good and being this motivated like me. I really should write a self-help book, but I guess this is what this podcast is self-help. My listeners, you should be listening to me and taking notes on how to better your life, okay? God, there was a pair of pants that I bought that were like $70, and that was a lot of money for me. I don't spend a lot of money on pants. Well, I haven't in the past because, why waste a lot of money if your weight is fluctuating and you have low self-esteem and you don't really care what you look like at a certain point. And that was kind of me in my 20s. But when I was buying clothes last time, I said, you know what? I need to spend some money because I feel svelte, I feel good, I feel sexy. I'm going to spend some money. So I spent, like I said, $70 or $80 on these, were they gray denim Levi's or something? They were a really expensive pair of pants to me. Really nice. I only wore those pants maybe 5 or 6 times. Now they're so big on me that even a belt wouldn't do a damn thing. Same thing with my suit jackets. They look like I'm wearing my father's suit jacket. They're huge. And some of the pants look like straight MC Hammer parachute pants. So fuck me. I can't really bitch too much about the outcome of the clothing audit because that just shows me that I'm still losing weight, which is good. I'm getting healthier, but shit. So I guess any of my listeners, male or female, I don't judge. If you want some new clothes that are pretty decent, but you don't have any money, you don't want to go shopping, or you have pandemic, COVID issues with going clothing shopping in the malls or whatnot, hit your boy up. I got my own little thrift store happening up here. But before I give it to strangers at a thrift store, I'd like to give it to friends or family. So hit your boy up if you need some new digs, baby. But with that, I think we can keep moving on to other topics here. Well, it's the day after the wildest, most entertaining, and anxiety-inducing NFL playoff weekend that I can remember in a long time. Especially following the wild card weekend that had 5 out of the 6 games were blowouts, with 4 of them being pretty big blowouts. But the divisional round had 4 games, and son of a bitch, I went 1-3 in my predictions. Oh, but all 4 games were at the very least entertaining. And that Bills-Chiefs game may go down as one of the top 5 NFL playoff games in history. The last 2 to 3 minutes of that game, holy shit, you had 25 points scored. You had 4 lead changes. And I don't even feel bad that the team that I wanted to go to the Super Bowl all year, the Buffalo Bills, lost because they had the game. They had the game. All they had to do was defend Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs for 13 seconds, and they couldn't do it. And Buffalo had the number 1 defense in football. So I'm not upset that the Chiefs won because it was an amazing game. What I am upset about is that the NFL still has that bullshit sudden death overtime policy, which is ridiculous, especially in the playoffs. The first team to score wins? Well, that's dumb. So you're telling me that when the Chiefs scored on the opening drive in overtime, they don't even give Buffalo a chance to answer. It's ridiculous. Buffalo should have at least had a chance to go down the field and attempt to tie the game, if not go for 2 on the point after and win the game. So that is a major, major, major nitpick for me for the NFL. There's a bunch of other issues, but that one is near the top right now because of that playoff game. But the Bucks and Rams was a game. I thought it was going to be a blowout until the fourth quarter, and Tom Brady led the Bucks to a tie. But again, much like the Bills, the Bucks could not stop Matthew Stafford with, what did he have? He had, I think, 30-something seconds, and he hit Cooper Kupp twice. Oh, Cooper Kupp, I love you, man. Even though you have the worst beard I have ever seen on an NFL player. So again, I'm not that upset that my pick for the Buccaneers lost because they tied the game. And all they had to do was weather the storm and go to overtime. And how are you not going to root for Tom Brady in the playoffs in overtime? Maybe not root for him, but not be surprised if he wins. And the other game that went against my picks was the 49ers beating the Packers. I mean, I thought that was a lock. The game that I was 50-50 on was the Bucks and Rams. But I thought for sure the Packers would beat the 49ers. I didn't think they were going to beat them handedly, but I thought they would beat them, especially in that opening drive. I mean, they looked unstoppable, and they went up 7-0 on the 49ers, and Garoppolo just looks like shit out there. But the defense held on, and that blocked punt at the end of the fourth quarter that tied the game completely shifted everything. And the only game I got right was Cincinnati beating the Titans. And I thought that one was going to be a blowout, or at least a 2-score win by the Bengals. And that was a nail-biter because, holy shit, that Cincinnati offensive line could not protect Joe Burrow. He got sacked 9 times. He was hurried and hit a few other times on top of that. But Joe Cool just stayed in there, delivered where he had to. He didn't score a touchdown, and he had one interception that was kind of iffy. But they held on, and they beat the number 1 seed. Ryan Tannehill did not look that good, throwing 3 picks. Derrick Henry still looked a little rusty coming off the DL. Both number 1 seeds lost, and that was the first time that's happened in, I read it. It's something like 2008 or something. And we were on pace to have all 4 home teams lose in the playoffs, and I don't know if that has ever happened in the divisional round. But like we all know, the Chiefs came back and won, so they were the only home team to win. So now we have, I believe Cincinnati is the number 4 seed, if I'm not mistaken, and they're going to go to Kansas City, where Kansas City, I believe, is the 2 seed. I'm going to pick the Bengals because I'm following my heart. My brain is saying the Chiefs. In fact, my brain is saying the Chiefs may beat the shit out of the Bengals because the Titans are a better defense than the Chiefs. And they sacked Burrow 9 times. But the Titans' offense is nowhere near as good as the Chiefs. So I'm thinking if the Chiefs sack Burrow half of that, maybe 4 or 5 times, they absolutely have the offense to put Cincinnati away. And Cincinnati has never been here before. This Cincinnati team. I don't think anybody on that team has ever even played in the Super Bowl, let alone many playoff appearances. I mean, the oldest player on the offense is 29 or 28 years old. They're tight end, Uzamoa. So I'm rooting for the Bengals, but I'm not going to be shocked if Kansas City wins. But if I'm going to put some money down, it's going to be on the Bengals upsetting the Chiefs. Now, the NFC, I don't think there are 2 teams that I have to be brutally honest and humble with myself here. I don't think there's 2 teams that I underestimated more than the 49ers and Rams. I knew the Rams were good, but I can't root for them. They're like a dream team. They're like a super team. I can't. Although I like Cooper Kupp. I thought Matt Stafford was a little bit overhyped. But no, he is delivering. He has looked really good. That defense is stacked, and they have a really good offensive line. I think there's some question marks with the running backs. Captain Obvious here because they had 2 fumbles. So I don't know who's going to win that game right now. The 49ers, on paper, the 49ers look like a C-plus team to me. Garoppolo is by far the worst quarterback still in the playoffs. And he was by far the worst quarterback last weekend in the playoffs. And they don't really have a good running back. I know this new guy, this rookie they were playing, has had some pretty good games in the regular season, but he hasn't done shit in the playoffs yet. Deebo Samuel and George Kittle scare me. They're good. But besides that, who do they got? Their offensive line is okay. Their defensive line is stacked. and they have one of the best linebackers in football in Fred Warner, but their secondary is shit as well. But it doesn't matter. They're in the fucking championship game again. On paper, the Rams should slaughter the 49ers. But the 49ers have owned the Rams. They've won 6 in a row. The fucking Seahawks can't do shit against the Rams, and we own the 49ers. Nothing makes sense anymore in the NFL. So I really don't care who wins between the Rams and 49ers. Whoever wins that game, I'm not rooting for in the Super Bowl. I'm rooting for whoever wins that Cincinnati-Kansas City game. I'm going AFC all the way. I do think the Rams are a more fun, entertaining team to watch. So I think a Rams-Chiefs or Rams-Bengals Super Bowl would be fun. The fucking 49ers, though, man, they're not even that fun to watch. They're maddening if they were my team. But if I had to put money down right now, even though the 49ers have won 6 in a row against the Rams, this is a playoff game. They're going to be in Los Angeles. I mean, it's an all-California game. Ugh. I guess I'm going to pick the Rams, and I'm picking the Bengals. Ugh. But my brain is telling me that Chiefs and 49ers are going to be in the Super Bowl. But I never listen to my brain. I listen to my heart and my cock, and those two are telling me Cincinnati and Los Angeles in the Super Bowl. Who knows if I'm right? I probably am not right, but oh man, I still cannot believe that Bills-Chiefs game. I mean, that ending. I mean, they're going to be talking about this game for years, as they should. Mahomes and Allen look like perennial all-pro, all-star players. I saw a stat this morning. Already, Mahomes and Josh Allen are the 2 best quarterbacks in playoff NFL history in terms of passer rating. Already. Number 1 before was Bart Starr, the old Packers quarterback from God only knows how long ago. But after the last few games, Mahomes and Allen are better than Bart Starr's passer rating. Legendary game yesterday. Agonizing defeat for your boy and all Buffalo Bills fans. From the get-go this year, my Super Bowl picks was Buffalo and Green Bay, and they both fell in the divisional round. They couldn't even make it to the championship game. Buffalo came so close, 13 seconds away, whereas the Packers never really looked solid, but they did have the lead into that block punt in the 4th. So, anyway. I am honestly surprised on a daily basis that I have yet to catch COVID. 2 years into the pandemic, give or take. Has it been 2 years? Over 2 years. Because I know they say the first reported case was in Washington in early 2020, but I know it was here in 2019 around November. And I have taken 2 antibody tests, both times coming back negative. And I just don't know what I am doing that has kept me from catching COVID, which I think is good. But 2 years in, I haven't got it. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I have royal blood. I don't know. I still think I had COVID, though. I think I had COVID back in December 2019. I've talked about it before on here. I was so ill in December of 2019 for about a month. I was trying to sell my condo at that time. So I had a lot of people coming and going from my place, mostly contractors, but I also was meeting with real estate agents, and I also was starting to look at houses. So I was going around to a lot of different people, but there was about at least a 3 to 4 week stretch where I just had constant congestion, constant stuffiness, constant fever. I had no sense of smell, no sense of taste. I was sweating. I had shivers. I wouldn't say I would hallucinate, but there was definitely times where I couldn't tell if I was asleep or awake. There was a time where I felt better at the end of December, and I went to a New Year's Eve party, and literally the next day I was deathly ill again. And I really didn't get completely better until I went to the doctor, was put on some steroids, antibiotics, and about the end of the first week of January 2020 did I start to feel a little bit better. Now, when COVID hit, I thought, well, for sure, and this is back in March or April of 2020, I thought for sure I had COVID previously, but I took the antibody test and it said, nope, you don't have the antibodies. But that was in the early stages of those tests. And I was tested for COVID last year because I had that stomach flu and I made me miss that fucking trip to Idaho. God damn it, I'm still salty about that. But they also said I didn't have COVID and the antibodies test came back also negative. So I don't understand how I've never had it. I could have had it and just not been tested for the antibodies and then they left me. But I think I would distinctly remember having COVID or having the symptoms. So I'm not sure what I've been doing right. I know there is a suspect headline going around right now with cannabis helps block COVID infection. Now, I've read the article a few times, and I see that it's been shared to some clickbaity sites like BuzzFeed and Vice, and I did my best to try to reach a consensus, which is not really. More data is needed. I don't think marijuana has kept me from catching COVID, unless that the information comes out later that cannabis actually does play a big part in that. And I think they said it was the CBD part. So I don't know. Maybe that's because I smoke like a chimney during quarantine and I haven't caught it because of that. But I am vaccinated. I have got the third booster. I do wear the mask when I'm told to, but I don't really social distance all the time. And there was a lot of times during the pandemic where I just said, fuck it, I got to get out of the house. And I would go to a shopping mall or something along those lines. Parks. I've been to movie theaters. I don't think I've gone to a concert or a show during the pandemic. But I absolutely was going shopping like crazy when I first bought this house, which is right in the early stages of COVID. I was looking at furniture almost every week. So I don't know, man. Maybe I do have that royal blood. I've also read articles that health professionals and experts and scientists and whatever are going to want to meet and talk to people and run tests on people that have not ever had COVID during the pandemic. If they want to take some blood out of me and run some tests, go right ahead. I don't think I have any special blood in me in terms of what type of blood I have. I believe I'm type, there's type A, type O, type, I think there's AB. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be talking out of my ass. I don't really know. I think there's 4 types of blood. I don't have the most common one, but I think I have the second most common one. And I don't think I'm super, super, super healthy. I'm still probably obese. If they look at the actual obesity rankings, the body mass index and everything, I think my BMI is still in the 30s, which is too high. That number should be cut in half. But yeah, I don't know how I've lucked out this far. And at this point, part of me wants to catch Omicron just so I do have the antibodies moving forward, at least for, what do they say the antibodies last year? 6 to 8 months usually, which is longer than the vaccine or the booster. So I don't know. I feel like I've lucked out. I'm just kind of surprised that I haven't had it yet. I don't know. Maybe in a couple months I will be strapped to a chair, have all my blood taken out, and who knows? Maybe they'll be injecting my blood into your body in about a year's time. I don't know. Maybe I have the COVID vaccine in my blood. What was that movie, The Omega Man, with Charlton Heston, where he was a scientist and he accidentally made a virus that killed everybody and turned some people into vampires that only came out at night, and he would capture them during the day and run tests on them to figure out why he can't catch that same virus. They made the movie a couple times. I think Vincent Price was actually in the original, and then Charlton Heston made it, and then they remade it with Will Smith. That's the I Am Legend movie, which was a fucking abortion of a movie. But yeah, maybe that's me. But anyway, what else do I want to talk about here before we wrap up? Oh, the person who assassinated Robert Kennedy, Sirhan, had his parole denied yet again. And this is the first time I think the entire parole board said, yes, Sirhan can be let out of prison, because I think he's in his late 70s. He wasn't all there to begin with. There's also talk about how he may have been a CIA or FBI stooge, or that he was tested on with LSD and he really didn't know what he was doing. How old is he? Yeah, he's 77 years old. The parole board said, you know what, he can go. But head cuck Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, wrote this really cringy op-ed about, no, we can't let him out. He did irreparable damage, durka. But I'm thinking that with the amount of traitorous, insurrectionists, pro-fascist politicians and elected officials we have in this country, maybe we should let out some old people that assassinated people back in the day out, because maybe Sirhan can help, quote-unquote, take out some trash. Sure, he killed Robert Kennedy Jr., but what's stopping him from maybe walking up to Newt Gingrich? Of course, I'm joking, everybody. I'm not pro-assassination, but how funny would it be if we let Sirhan out, and within a week, he's popped a few politicians. Oh, boy. Anyway, with that, I think we are completely done here. I did want to read a quote before I completely wrap up here, and this is from Steven Pinker, who I'm a huge fan of. I have read one of his books. Let me pull up Steven Pinker here. He's a Canadian-American cognitive psychologist, psycholinguist, popular science author, and public intellectual. He's an advocate of evolutionary psychology and the computational theory of the mind. The guy, in my opinion, is one of the smartest people on the planet. I have watched, I think, a handful of podcasts with him as a guest on Joe Rogan, on Lex Friedman, and I think a third one I'm drawing a blank on. I read his book. Oh, shit. What the hell was his big book? Oh, come on, man. All right, Steven Pinker books. Enlightenment Now, I've read. His new book, Rationality, What It Is, Why It's Scarce, and Why It Matters, is on my to-read list. And just look Steven Pinker up. The guy is a genius, and I don't throw that term around easily. I mean, I do, but I shouldn't. You know, I've often talked about society using A+ words for C+ or D+ issues, but that's me. I think I use genius and literally and insane way too much. But if I'm going to use the term genius appropriately, it belongs to the likes of Steven Pinker. He had a really good quote that I think that was on the last time he was on the Joe Rogan podcast. He said, and I quote, "The best explanation for the good old days is a bad memory." So next time you're talking to your parents, talking to some old relatives, or just people that are older than you, and they are bitching or lamenting about the current state of things and how it's never been as bad in history as it is now. You know, same thing that Trump ran on, his motto, "Make America Great Again," implying that America is a shithole right now and it's never been worse. No, you just have a bad memory. Of course, things were better to you when you were younger and healthier, and now that you're old as fuck and feeling like shit and you can't keep up with current events and all the youth look like scary punks to you, well, of course you're going to want the good old days. My father is one of these people. He talks almost every time I'm on the phone to them about how awful the world is right now and how he wishes life was like in the 70s and 80s. And I say, well, no shit. You were younger. You're a white man. Well, of course, life was always good for you. But ask anyone of color living in America, what was it like in the 70s and 80s? But anyway, that's a whole other topic there. So next time some old bitch says something stupid to you like that, just let them know the best explanation for the good old days is a bad memory. And check out Steven Pinker. With that, I love y'all. Take it sleazy. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And yeah, just treat others as you want to be treated, you know? Love one another, have empathy and compassion. Don't be so quick to judge. Give people a chance. And then once you give them that chance and they're a complete mook or a fanoke or a jamoke or a tool, then you can say, oh, this person's a pile of shit. That's when you judge. But anyway, later, bitches.